Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for tuning in. I'm so glad to have a special guest with me today. We have here Brave Black Bird, also known as, and today we'll be talking about a few things. She's going to be sharing her testimony. Excited about that. And so I first, introduce yourself, and then we're questions about kind of like how your childhood was, like your brain, and then we'll go kind of into the things that you encountered, how you had an actual God encounter. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people today, and then we'll get started.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brave Blackbird. I am from Louisiana. Louisiana is a state of Catholicism. So I grew up making my first communion and all of my different devotions. We didn't have a very strict household. It was more a religious aspect, ritualistic. As long as we went to church on Sunday, we were good. As long as we took communion, we were good. My other cousins, they were apostolic, they had restrictions. So we would go to the beach and, they couldn't put on bathing suits and stuff like that. But we were free to live a pretty much free life outside of the rituals.
Okay. So, like, as far as like ritual, like to the people, what type of rituals were there? Like, what did you do our going to church because it was out of habit, and that's just what people do nowadays? But rituals, so people will see that because there's a lot of people now that are into this stuff and they don't realize it.
Right. So we would do things like say the rosary. We would memorize prayers. So one of the prayers is called the act of contrition. We would kneel down, stand up. We basically had to learn how church goes before we were able to be a leader in the church or speak on the mic at church and say different missalettes or what have you.
Were kind of like speeches, or y'all had to do like it was something that y'all had before y'all were able to like serve?
Okay, so we don't have a Bible. We have what's called a missalette, and it's currently dated from like let's say the missalette comes out in April, and then it'll go to December, and it has each date like a devotional of what we're going to read about. And some of the passages does come out the Bible, is Bible based.
Oh, okay. So is it kind of like Psalms or something? Because I know there was a lady that was practicing the occult, and they had this kind of like Bible devotional thing, but it had like on the bottom of it that would tell them like to do things as far as like rituals go and stuff according to the scriptures. Is that what you were?
Not really. So it's if you go into mass, that's what we call church. That's what we call process of church. It's called a mass. So when you enter mass, it's literally the same thing over and over. The only difference is the homily and the reading. So different people that's a part of the congregation would go up, or they have their set date, or their Sunday. We do have church on Saturdays too in the evening at 4:30 in the evening. So there's appointed people that speak and read out of the missalette and says, Okay, the word today is Ephesians chapter 3, verse whatever. Or the book of Paul, or the book of James, and they'll read the passage, which may be like, a couple of paragraphs or a paragraph, or what have you. And after that, you stand for the reading of the word, and then you sit down, and then the priest expounds on that reading.
Okay.
But we already know what we're going to do way ahead of time.
Wow. Okay. So what background did you come from as far as like religion goes?
Catholic.
Oh, okay. So it was a Catholic religion. Okay. Okay. So like how did you notice things progressing in your life as far as going through it like in a teenager and stuff like that? Like how did you that area of the occult?
Well, I was really depressed as a teenager, starting at 12. I had a lot of suicidal and I still was listening to my mom as far as going to church, because at 17 or 18 years old, you make your confirmation, which you're confirming your faith in Catholicism. So I went with emotions with that type of thing. I really didn't know Jesus for myself. I never had a spiritual encounter. I broke my virginity at 12. This 19-year-old coerced me into sex, and realized my virginity was gone. I felt this deep sorrow just over my life, and just on my shoulders. So with that, I gained a sense of chastity, and I was advocating for chastity. I was advocating for what's that word? Abstinence. And because I had sex, celibacy. So I wore a lot on my and I thought I was doing that for God. But I might have not been doing it with God. Because I still never had a spiritual encounter for myself. I didn't know him for myself. So I did that. I dealt with another coercion from men. A man that I fell in love with at 17 years old. He was 20 years old, graduated college. We had sex, and I got hurt. After that, I went wild. I went buck wild.
Right.
Okay. And I see a lot of celebrities that were in the occult, or that was waking up to the government and the lies that the government tell, and just a lot of talk of Illuminati. Like, I met these celebrities personally, and because I met them personally, I believed it. So I was like, you know what? I take matters into my own hands. Everything that I was taught was not true. One thing led to the other. I mean, it started off with simple, I have my new apartment. Let me buy some sage to get rid of these spirits in my house. Let me get rid of my security card because it's a binding contract. If I have children, I'm going to have children at home so they're not detected by the government. Just little things that just kept inching at, full blown occultism.
Right. Through that, because it sounds like a bit of like paranoia in a, like, did it make you paranoid in a, it sounds like the spirit of paranoia, like for different things, even though in reality is not what's happening, but they might, this is what's going to happen, so you have to like guard yourself.
Yeah, and I had to protect myself because nobody else was protecting me.
Yeah.
And I've always was a curious kid, I questioned a lot of things. then I started questioning, how do y'all believe in this Jesus that y'all been taught since y'all been born? Because I know I went to private school. I went to Catholic school. So how are y'all believing in the same person and not finding out for yourself?
Yeah.
So I couldn't sleep, and I said, oh well, look, I know the truth, and I believed in universalism. How could I be right about Jesus and somebody in China is wrong about Buddha? You know.
So like, tell me, like, after all of that, after you met like this led you into this paranoia stage or whatever, what kind of things started to happen? Like, what happened, like, in your house when you basically opened the door for demon activities? Like, what kind of activities did you encounter from them?
So I was pregnant for my second child. I had my 22 months apart. I have 2 children. I was pregnant for my second child. And because my first pregnancy ended in a C-section, I wanted to have a vaginal birth. We were in a financial bind. I wanted not only financial literacy, but I wanted to completely prosper. And I was led to believe that with a couple of sigils, with a couple of spells, with manifestation, belief in manifestation, I can get anything that I want. Grandmother, I have a long line of women who were seers. They saw visions. They, read people. So I called on my grandmother, my late grandmother, who passed away in 1998. I called on in the closet. And because I'm a dreamer, I dream really vividly. I said, visit me in my dreams. That's where I'm safe at. That's where I can do things in the spirit that I can't do in the natural. So visit me where it's more powerful in my dreams. Because if I seen her in the physical, I probably would have ran away. I would freaked out. So she did. I went to sleep one night. She came in my dream. She was a distance away, let's say maybe 30 feet away. And I was like, well, she came. It was that type of initial encounter. Okay, you came. And then I feel to my left side of myself a spiritual being. I couldn't see the face, but it spoke to me. I heard words come out of this spiritual being. My grandmother had never spoke to me. I just acknowledged that she was there. The spiritual being said, if you go over there, I can't save you. So I said, I just sat down with that for a minute. Still, in that dream, I sat down with that and I said, from my knowledge, no one has ever, out of all the gods that I've read, no one has ever said, I can save you. No one really acknowledged the human problem. So I said, this is Jesus. I knew in my spirit that was Jesus. And when I accepted that in my spirit, that was, my grandmother started deteriorating. Like her skin started deteriorating, and an animalistic spiritual being was revealed, which I believe was a demon. So immediately I looked the 30 feet away and I was like, you were about to deceive me. You were trying to trick me. And I was angry. I was so angry. But the happiness from the salvation overtook me. My first ever spiritual encounter with Jesus.
Praise God. Praise, because like, to have that kind of personal encounter, God is. I want to back up a little bit, right? So
Yeah.
You mentioned, because I was the other day, and people don't realize manifesting things on their own, doing the rituals and stuff that they speak more on manifestations, because people don't really understand that. And I've tried to really don't understand that, speaking in that way of talking about manifesting is it's from the occult, it's demonic. And so other people, what it means to manifest, when people talk about manifesting and what kind of things you did to do them, to get to that point of, I'm manifesting whatever it is. You explain it to the people,
yeah, we're a really lazy generation.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand the earthly experience. Mm-hmm. And this experience is a reap and sow experience. It's a time and place experience. God does not live in time and space. So it's very tempting when someone tells you all you have to do is light this candle. Or these ingredients in a bottle and shake it up. And whatever curse you want to break is going to break, or whatever hex you want to manifest is going to come to pass. That is a very tiring method. And I'm not saying because Jesus is an option or an easier method, but the God of all things, the God of the same dirt that you're taking and putting in a bottle, you understand, is the same God that fixed that situation. Sacrificing animals is a part of the occultism, but it was also a part of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Still paying for goats. You can buy a goat for $500 in New Orleans, right down the street from me, and they will sacrifice it on your behalf. You would never be rich like that. You would never get any type of prosperity like that. It's a never-ending story. It's constant work.
Right.
And I think
I've noticed
I got into laziness for not having another option or not knowing any other options, or
Would you say that it's when they doing stuff like this, it's like a constant thing, having to do it, the ritual, like over and over and over again? I guess something happened.
Yes. So some rituals and hexes, you would do it over and over again until something happens. Other ones you would do it out of faith, like burying something in the yard or something like that. You would do that one time and you would leave it alone in faith that whatever you will is going to come to pass.
Right. Okay, so like, would you say, like, these rituals and all this kind of stuff, did you at any time any demonic encounters? Like, have you seen demons outside of your dream aspect? But I'm saying, like, in the natural realm, have you, when you're doing things with people, or just doing any type of things, or whatever they did you encounter any demons? You see them, what kind of stuff happened?
Definitely, I've seen demons in the real world. Even though I dreaded it, wasn't scared of it. I had just never had these type of experiences growing up, so I didn't know how I would react. So I did a lot of readings. I did tarot readings. And I did readings straight off the dome, if you will, without using anything, just happened at second and third heaven for people. I made a lot of money off of people by them being uncertain of their future. So after I had the encounter with Jesus, that's when the demons was revealed to me.
Wow.
Someone begged me to read them, and after going back and forth, I was like, no, I'm not doing that no more. I believe in Jesus. Jesus wouldn't have me to do this at this time. Until Jesus calls me to do this, I'm not doing this. I finally gave in. Okay, so I have this gift of seeing things that's not in the room and that's beyond walls. So I can see what's happening in the other room without being there. And that's when it definitely happened for me. And I knew what I knew. It was undeniable. I was laying in my bed. It was maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I was breastfeeding. I had my daughter. I was breastfeeding her. We were hungry. I wanted to go get something to eat, and this demon was waiting for me on top of a wine cooler. We had a wine cooler in the kitchen, and sitting on top of the wine cooler. It didn't say anything. It was almost like it was tormenting me. It was sitting like, you back, like like I'm gonna just sit here like and just bother you, be in your space. It's like purchasing this big tree to go in your house that it just has no place. Like it just had no place in the kitchen, and it knew it. It had a very torn spirit with it. And I was just so sorry. I didn't eat that entire day, and I just sat in the bed and cried until my husband came home for it. I was just sorry.
Wow.
Like, God, I'm so sorry that I opened up this door again. And I never looked back ever.
Wow. So, like, what happened to D? Go away, or do you still see them sometimes? Do you still have those encounters?
So no, I haven't had a demonic encounter since that. What God told me was, He said, you're feeling guilty because the enemy wants you to feel guilty. He chosen is already chosen. You are already chosen. But if you don't live like you're chosen, and it's not by my will, it's by faith. It's not by the law, it's by faith that I accept that I'm chosen, and I decide to walk in the spirit and not in fear, aversion. I had, like I said, with my childhood, with me losing my virginity, with me breaking this promise I made to God with celibacy. When I'm coerced, that's when the power is out of my hands, and then I'm left feeling guilty. And He was like, I'm not disappointed. You are disappointed.
Yeah.
It's really our own demons, honestly. Honestly, it felt like that demon was picked out for me, like it was mine.
Yeah, to torment you, to make you feel guilt and shame and all those types of things. I'm sure you felt all those types of things when looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's telling you. But I'm telling you, like, so with that happening in your life, so now everybody has a Jesus encounter different ways. You're delivering Jesus. You literally, He spoke to you that if you go over there, there's nothing He can do for you. That would be your although, and that decision, that's why God gives us free will, right? We have choice what He has called us to do or not, and we choose to. And I want the ancestor thing because that was supposed to be your ancestor, mother, or great grandmother, whichever. And can you expound on the ancestral thing? Because a lot of people touch with their ancestors, and let them know it's not what they think it is. It's not speaking to and dealing with in the spiritual realm.
So I believed in ancestor worship. I would do things to the spirits of my ancestors. When I realized that demons are shapeshifters, I was appalled. I stopped saying, oh, my grandmother's watching me. She's looking down on me. She's in heaven. Grandma, send me a sign. Or you miss your grandmother. She's right here. She's still here. Absolutely not. The dead is and will not rise up until Jesus comes the second time. And I now that I know, it's not hearsay. It's not oh, well, I read these books about ancestor worship and African spirituality is this and that, and those I can regurgitate knowledge because I read these books. And I followed these rituals. But seeing what I saw, it just don't add up. And when you just know something, because you witnessed it, it's undeniable. It's very demonic.
Wow. A lot of people, and if you look at even and they don't realize how it's so like if you watch what was it, Black Panther? And they whole ancestor, he like literally like died and took this pope in order for him to go speak to his ancestors. I don't understand. That's what Satan does. He tries to, desensitize the people and have the stuff is fake. It's not real, and you can really speak to your ancestor. Reality, like she just said, that demons, and we are not supposed to, as people of God, to talk to the dead. We're not supposed to speak to any dead people or anything at all. So that kind of stuff is very deceiving of Satan, and that's the spirit of deception right there. Is that you're able to assess and get answers for different things, or they're making your decisions, and really demons are making your decisions for you.
Absolutely.
And those decisions, you are making for you are not godly decisions. So you have to really think it's coming from. That's what the Bible tells us, to test the spirit by the spirit, so you'll know who you are dealing with. So that's
with Catholic world. Like you can put a quarter in this. It looks like a tier of candles. You can put a quarter and then light a candle for your dead loved one. The priest comes. It's just candles. It's electric candles. Okay. And you can press the button. It's a red button. You can press the button to light the candle for your ancestor. It was a lot of things. When we talk about familiar spirits, there's a lot of things that was familiar to me. So this didn't feel wrong or far-fetched. The priest would come with sage and myrrh and frankincense in this metal container, whatever, with a string, and wave it. So the incense that I was burning, these incense and these candles, and you know what I mean, it wasn't far from what I was taught.
Wow. So you said the priest had it?
The priest walks down the altar, the aisle, to get to the altar with the same everything.
So basically, have a ritualistic stuff, and they don't even realize what they're doing. Are they doing it for the same reason, or I guess as they call negative energy? Is that what the priest is?
Perhaps. So, knowing what I know about Catholicism, there's things that the priest and the Pope knows that the congregation doesn't have to know. When they do communion and they break the bread and the wine and everything, in their mind, they believe that is actually the blood and the body of Christ. We just do it as a ritual. Contrary to popular belief, work. Whether you believe in it or not.
Yeah.
They do work. So they don't have to know.
Wow.
Doesn't have to know.
Wow. So you with that religion of them doing that, do you think that that's where they from the occultism, or you think that just the occultism kind of took from Catholic, beliefs, intertwined them and started doing this, waving around the sage sense for those negative reasons, or
the occultism took from earlier religions. Earlier religions took from other pagan practices.
right?
It's intertwined. I mean, when you have people who preaches the prosperity gospel, right? That is an early that's a new term. Okay, prosperity gospel. We have the gospel of Jesus, and then we have prosperity and manifestation, and they blend that in and get a separate entity of its own. So yeah, Catholicism is taking a bunch of religions and putting it into one, and putting Jesus at the top of it. That's it.
So do you think nowadays, like this new age thing is like, it's like a made up Jesus in their mind? It's not really the Jesus, but it's who they think Jesus is. So they all put him up in the center, but it's not really who the Bible is really talking about.
So they have something in the New Age movement called Christ consciousness. They acknowledge Christ. However, they still feel like you need to perform rituals to access it. So they'll say you need to unlock your kundalini, your chakras. You have to meditate your way into it, to this higher level. And they believe that Jesus did this to get to where he is. They don't believe that Jesus was divine before he entered Mary.
Wow.
They even say blasphemous things like God is a woman. I'm sorry. I clearly seen that Jesus is man, regardless of how I feel about gender. He was a male.
Right.
Because he carried the seed. That was later revealed to me. But first, I had to put down idolatry of gender. I had to put down the idolatry of race. You know what I mean? Jesus was neither black nor white when I seen him.
Hello.
But idolatry of race would make me say Jesus was a black man. That's so far from the point. If God came down, are y'all really still going to talk about color?
Right.
It doesn't mean that there isn't oppression, from one race or one color to, but we're talking about spiritual matters.
Right. Exactly. And so, like, and I hear this all the time. People make it a black and white thing, and I'm like, Jesus died for us. That's all that. What he did for us is all that. Not what his skin complexion is. And so, but like when that's what I was saying about the whole Jesus, them making up a false Jesus. It's like a false Jesus mind that they think that this is what he did, how he was, how he went back. This. So it's like a made up. It's like a false Jesus.
I would say
Jesus
it's a false Jesus. Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
That is so crazy.
The churches preaching about a false Jesus, or just not letting the finished work of the cross be finished.
Right. Right.
And that's what a lot of Christians
heard a pastor. Yeah. That's crazy because, like, Jesus didn't live up to his full potential, but yes, he did. Jesus did exactly what he was supposed to do. He died. He did everything that he was supposed to do, that his Father commanded. He did that. Yeah. So to make up this, it's like idolatry, right? It's like you making this deity that really is Satan, but you're making it. Because anytime you talk about things like that, and you made all these things, and they make up something like that, that's from Satan. That is not Jesus. That is not the way of God. And so that when you conglomerate all, there's only one Lord, one faith, and one baptism. So it's only one God. So any other, to make anybody feel bad about what they believe, but at the same that the Christian faith is the real faith, because there's evidence, and there's many other people in this world that had real Jesus encounters. Even myself, the Jesus that we serve, the God that we serve, and the Holy Word that we read is God. And that's what people need to understand. On
Amber, a lot of people wouldn't. They don't understand that me personally, I can't speak for nobody else, but me personally, I wanted every other God to be true, but the God of Israel.
Right.
Does not benefit me to just pick out of the blue sky who I'm going to serve. God does say it in his word. He says, right, pick who you're going to serve today, not tomorrow. Just pick who you're going to serve and stay right there. I was in the middle of a covenant with a demon that I thought was my grandmother. And because he was the last covenant, he let me know what was what. He put up a boundary. A boundary always starts with if. And then the end result of a boundary is the final result. If you go there, I can't save you. You can still go, but I'm not going to be there to save you. I can't save you over there. I can only save you right here where you are. Vulnerable, open, waiting to form a covenant. I was in waiting. I was basically in my wedding dress, makeup done, hair done, waiting to go meet my groom. And he said, well, why addressed while you're here, while you're about to form a covenant. I'm gonna let you know that if you go there, you can't form a covenant with me. If you go to this room instead of that room, this is just what it's gonna be.
Right.
And from there, I mean, I made a decision. You know, he got me right in the middle of a covenant that I was about to make. I couldn't think of a more perfect time than then. And then to my carnal mind, I was like, shoot, I'm supposed to choose you over my grandmother, who I know, who's familiar. I'm supposed to choose my grandmother, you know, in my carnal mind. But I knew this was strictly spiritual. My grandmother was dead, you know. Jesus is obviously alive and living, and he never shapeshifted. He remained who he was.
Right. Right. Wow. Yeah. You know, he gave decisions. We all have choices. You know, to follow Christ, or there's no in between. There's no in between Jesus, and there's no in between Satan. You know, the Bible tells us we cannot serve two masters. You have one choice who you're going to serve. There's no in between. It's either Jesus or good or bad. You know, so it's, you know, life is set up. That's how life is set up. And everything, and if we will look more into a spiritual matter rather than a natural understanding on these things, and look at everything more in spiritual, because everything that's going on around us, even now to this day, it's spiritual. Revolves around the spiritual realm and what goes on. So I'm glad that you shared this to everybody today, because they need to know. They need to know about, you know, the G's and the manifestations and the chakras, and all church folks nowadays are involved in. And I hate to say it, but church involved in all of this stuff, and they're saying there's nothing wrong with it. But you have here, Miss Raven is telling y'all it is a lot of things is wrong with this stuff, and the occultism.
You know, it was revealed that tithing is witchcraft. So in the journey, it's black or white.
Black or white.
You're going to serve Jesus, or you're going to serve the law. Tithing is being preached like prosperity gospel. Oh, I got this check in the mail because I gave my 10%, or you know what I mean? Checks don't fly from nowhere. That's the witchcraft.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that's using it for witchcraft, and I'm seeing it right now. I don't know if you saw it. They're talking about miracle money and stuff.
Yeah,
and they're just
the red claws, miracle water, all that.
They're manipulating the right now, and you got some miracle money, and I was like, they manipulate the people of God, and it's really sad, but that is it's supposed to be. So be careful. If you're in a church like that, y'all better run. The ministry like that.
So Catholicism got it right with that. They don't ask for a dime of your money, but they're still the richest organization in the world. They still donate free things to the homeless and, you know, single moms, and they really help out. They got the money thing down pat. You get furthermore with donations, saying, okay, just give a donation, rather than teaching that God is transactional with money, you know?
Yeah. And I think those are people who are really got off track, you know, things like that have really gotten off to what really matters. And so it's about souls being saved. It's about people's life being changed, people getting delivered free. You know, if you allow a person, if they want to give, they give. You know, there's no begging, there's no I'm pulling teeth to get you to give what at that, because the spirit of manipulation is running through the church right now. And yes, it is the spirit of and manipulating people of God is witchcraft. Yes. And that's of the you are manipulating the people of God. So you are very correct. More now than ever, you know, it's happening more that people are doing this type of thing. But be careful of the spirit of the witchcraft. It is in the church.
Yes.
And it's running rampant in the church. And so I'm going to open it up to any who has any questions. If you're online, if you have any questions, ask before we go. If you have any questions concerning cult and any other questions that you would like to ask her, you're more than welcome to do so right now. You know, and then she'll answer those questions for you. You know, we're gonna get off, but I also wanted to ask a question. So you can go ahead and ask the questions. But I want to say this that business, and I want you guys to patronize her and her business and Instagram. And it's under the same name, correct? Is on Instagram.
Instagram is Brewed Up.
What is it?
Instagram is Brave Brewed Up. Like brewing.
Okay.
Tea, Brave Brewed Up, and TikTok is Brave Blackbird.
Okay. So y'all heard it from her. That is her Instagram pages. You can tell them like, well, what your business is, so they can get an idea of what questions. Go ahead and post them so we can see them, and then talk about your to you know, check it out.
Yes, sure. So we have a Christian-based business. We brew something that us Louisiana Creole, Cajuns, and Native Americans call Monglier. It's a healing tea. It helps with diabetes, any metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure. It's an antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory. We are currently in 37 different retail locations, including grocery stores and pharmacies. It's available on Amazon as well.
So you guys heard it again, that she has her own healing that's for, you know, different things for your body, like high blood pressure. She said struggle with those types of things, especially in the Black community. High blood pressure, hello, really jump on that and get you all some herbal. You say it's herbal tea.
It's herbal tea. It's local to Louisiana. It's a plant that's found. It's actually right here. This is a plant. It's called Eastern Bacchus. But we have this linguistic variation of the word Monglier. It's spelled manglier. We call it Monglier tea, and it's been used for generations, hundreds of years. It helped us through the cold and flu, harsh winter months, back when segregation was a thing and couldn't go to their hospitals. You know, we would depend on that tea, and it helps fast. I am the first person to ever bottle it and have it commercially available.
Wow. So I pray much success to your business for sure. That you all that are watching right now, I see we don't have any questions, so but I also wanted to say just go and as well online on Instagram. Please support businesses. Stay connected. And I also want to say, Ms. Raven, I am so sure you were able to join me today. It was really refreshing to hear your testimony. By it, I pray that other people were blessed by it as well. And we are definitely, and I know there's so much more to your testimony. God continues to progress in your life. I know that you're going to even have more people of God to share, to help someone who really, as things are doing this stuff and they need deliverance as well. And I pray that through this, they'll even have just like you encountered in your dream. And so I again, so much for joining me today on Tree's page. It was a blessing today. So
thank you so much for having me, Miss Amber.
Yes, ma'am. You're very welcome. All right, so we're gonna head out. God bless everyone. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.